Hey everybody, it's Blonde Blitz time. Let's go. Hey everybody, and welcome to the Blonde Blitz. I'm your host, Deb Whitcas. It's so nice to be back, guys. Took a little 3-week break there. I was sick, unfortunately, and then the holidays. But we are back, and we've got a great show for you this evening. First of all, I want to acknowledge the devastating LA wildfires. I'm in Philly right now because of playoffs, but I am safe. But unfortunately, a lot of my friends have not been so lucky. They have lost their houses. I'm not going to try to cry. They've had to evacuate. So, everyone watching, if you could please send a prayer to the people and the animals of LA right now, everybody really needs it. Thank you to the firefighters and the first responders who are putting their lives literally on the line to fight these fires. Our own Shay Holland, HGTV designer to the athletes, was actually in Pacific Palisades earlier today. She will have a report on that later. She'll talk about how some of the NFL homes or the wild card game on Monday might be affected by the fires. So stay tuned for that. My special guest this week is one of my favorites, Dave DeRocha. He is a former lineman for the Seattle Seahawks who is deeply committed to his philanthropic causes. He's the founder and CEO of First and Goal Project that helps others find their game plan to pursue their true career calling. He is also the president of the NFL Players Association Orange County chapter. And I can't wait to talk to him. Such a good guy. Dave will also join me for week 18 hot takes and game picks with Ben. Guys, I got two former NFL players for wild card weekend picks. Let's go. All right, guys, for the rest of the show, betting expert Alex White will be here live from Vegas to give you your best bets for wild card weekend. And finally, as always, Ben Troop, former TE from the Titans and the Buccaneers, join me and Dave for wild card weekend game picks. All right, guys, shall we do it? Let's get it started with headlines. Hello, everybody. Here are your headlines for week 18. The 2025 Pro Bowl roster was announced on Friday. 6 NFL teams will be sending at least 5 players to Orlando. The Ravens will boast 9 Pro Bowlers, the Lions 7, Vikings 6, Eagles 6, Chiefs 5, and the Cowboys 5. The Pro Bowl will consist of football skill challenges and commence with an AFC-NFC flag football game led by coaches Eli and Peyton Manning on February 2nd at the University of Central Florida. Moving on to the AFC NFC players for the last week of the 2024 regular season. AFC Offensive Player of the Week quarterback Bo Nix of the Denver Broncos. He completed 26 of 29 pass attempts for 321 passing yards and 4 touchdowns with a league best 152.4 passer rating in the Broncos' 38-0 win against the Chiefs. Nix is the first ever Broncos rookie quarterback to win Offensive Player of the Week. NFC Offensive Player of the Week, running back Jamar Gibbs of the Detroit Lions. He recorded 170 scrimmage yards, 139 rushing, 31 receiving, and a league-high 4 touchdowns, 3 rushing, 1 receiving in Detroit's 31-9 victory over Minnesota. He had an amazing game. AFC defensive TE Trey Hendrickson of the Cincinnati Bengals. He recorded 5 tackles, 3.5 sacks, and 1 pass defense in Cincinnati's 1917 win at Pittsburgh. NFC Defensive Player of the Week, LB Yaya Diaby of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He recorded 5 tackles, including 4 tackles for loss and a sack in Tampa Bay's Hey guys, some technical difficulties there. All right. I'm like texting people. Oh my goodness. All right, we are still live. Let's those are some of your headlines at least. I guess it's time for our special guest. Dave DeRocha is one of my favorite former NFL players. He's literally one of the nicest men I know. Former offensive lineman for the Seattle Seahawks, and he's so committed to his nonprofit work. He's the founder of First and Goal Project and the president of the NFLPA chapter. We'll talk all about his career and his current endeavors. But first, I'm going to get his hot takes on Week 18. So, Jason, roll that bumper. Hey, Dave, how are you?
Hey, Deb, how you doing? Hey, you know what? I'm just glad to see someone else experience technical difficulties on their show,
Right?
and then you sit there and you just scramble, right? So I do a couple of shows. I do Hawk Talk with Walter Thurman III, and then I do another show called Sideline Sports with the guys. We're going to be at the Super Bowl again this week, and it's assured we get things dialed in, and then everything goes blank, and you're trying to find your guest. For me, Deb, my guests are other 60-year-old former NFL guys. They're holding on by a thread anyways. And so I'm trying to call them back and their phone's next to their face. And it's one of those Zoom calls with old people and they're all getting all close. Can you hear me? Oh, geez.
So this isn't that bad, right?
Anyhow,
I mean,
I feel you.
Things, right? Totally. Well, first of all, I have to ask Anne-Marie, your fiance, how is she? I haven't seen her in like a year or two.
She's doing very well, thank you. Yep, going back to school, and we're gonna do some fun stuff.
Fabulous.
So
yeah, we met.
Yeah, and she's my champion, man. With all the projects we have going on, she's right there with my calendar, and it's funny. I come home, she goes, "You didn't commit to anything else, did you?" I mean, that's almost like the first thing. Except for I just say yes.
Just doing the blonde blitz.
The blonde blitz, that's easy peasy, but it's like I can't take one more board position or I'm gonna be on the couch.
Too funny. All right, well, please tell her I said hello. Let's talk some football, shall we?
Sure.
Let's Week 18. What was your favorite? What was the best game of Week 18 for you?
Well, being that that the Seahawks had their struggles, new coach, a lot of new players, a lot of young players, a lot of unknowns, a lot of struggles, and to see them still pull out a 10-win season was fun to see. There's a lot of promise there, and I will have to say my favorite game was not the NFL. It was watching that kid at Arizona State, put the team on his back after throwing up on the sidelines, obviously under the weather and not feeling well, and just become, a star in a performance that, gosh, man, if you can't get excited about that, then you don't understand football.
Right. Yeah, no, I thought, absolutely. It's super important to have the team, on his back for sure. I love the Lions game, to be honest. Gibbs with 4 touchdowns, 28 carries. He's got the most touchdowns in NFL history, like in NFL right now. The Lions clinched the number 1 for the NFC for the first time in NFL history. So, super, super excited for my Lions fans, friends.
Okay, so is that your team? You're an Eagles person,
No,
right?
I'm an Eagles fan, but
all right.
I'm worried. I'm worried about the Lions.
Yeah, you should be. The Lions. Gibbs is a fun back to watch. He's got the little bit of power, shiftiness, and then speed, and and thank goodness for him, because for the first time in quite a while, I saw the Goff happy feet, and he was dancing. He was not comfortable in that pocket. He was all over the place. And then I think our guy that the quarterback with the Vikings, Sam Darnold, just kind of felt the pressure of the moment. It was like they're playing actually for home field, first place. He's had a great season, but if you notice, all his balls were high. That means he's just over gripping. He was just a little stiff. and it just didn't happen. And then, of course, the Lions took away, just ran away with it, and Gibbs put on a performance.
Yeah, I felt like I was looking at the old Sam Darnold instead of the one with the Vikings, the one with the Jets, the one with the Panthers. He just wasn't comfortable. And like you said, he overthrew. It just wasn't the Sam we've seen the entire season. Let's talk a little bit about Kansas City. There's a rumor going on that they threw the Week 18 against the Broncos so the Bengals wouldn't get into the playoffs. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, once again, we hear a lot of stuff. You read a lot of stuff. A lot of people have a lot of opinions. But if you've never strapped on a helmet and shoulder pads, now I know they wrestle a lot of guys, but I have never heard of, in all of the guys that I've ever talked to, heard a locker room say, "Hey, we're going to throw a game for any reason, for draft pick, or otherwise." People say, "Well, they dropped it to get the draft pick."
Right.
I don't care who you are, man. You don't want to lose. You don't want to get embarrassed on the field. And so I don't know. I would have a hard time believing that.
Yeah. I mean, even look at the Patriots. The Patriots had the first draft pick, and then by beating, who they beat this week, I forget right at the moment, but they dropped down to the fourth draft pick, and Jared Mayo then he got fired. But everybody was all of my Patriots fans are so upset right now that went down, but no player that I know. Well, they wanted their first pick.
Oh, so they didn't care about Mayo. They just wanted the pick. So they were mad that they won.
Yeah, they're mad that they won. And they went from the first pick to the fourth pick. But yeah.
Well,
anyway, Black Monday was upon us a couple days ago. Doug Peterson of the Jags got fired. Jared Mayo, who I just mentioned, also got fired literally minutes after the game ended. And also Antonio Pierce, from the head coach of the Raiders, was also fired. Do you agree with these firings, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah. I don't think any of them were a surprise. For me, wins and losses are one thing, especially when you're new, like a Mayo. He hadn't been around very long, and Pierce, he stepped in, and he got a lot of player support. Players rallied around him because he's just a good guy. But it doesn't make you a good coach. And this year, what you saw was just kind of like a deer in the headlights, which is, and what you're going to learn, Deb, is 60 years old and concussed. I'll forget names, and I even make up words. So just so you know, I can't remember the head coach of the Falcons, but you know what? That cat should have been gone too. I have never seen a head coach spend more time looking up at the Jumbotron than freaking talking and coaching. It's like he's like a spectator. I don't know what he's doing, and he just, once again, kind of that deer in the headlights. No leadership, in my opinion. He just kind of seems to be standing there looking at the Jumbotron. So I think that's somebody else that should have been added to the list.
Well, he had so much talent on that team. I mean, Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson. Michael Penix, obviously at the end of the season. Who else? Drake London. I mean, I expected Atlanta to go far this season, and they just didn't.
It almost kicked off with that loss to the Chiefs on that no call in the end zone. And it's hard sometimes to get over that as a player, where there's like an obvious call that actually affected the ending of a game. You can't blame the referees for a loss or win or a loss, but a big play at the end of a game that's pass interference in the end zone that gives you the ball on the 1 yard line is an issue. And it just didn't seem like they ever were kind of in it since then. But that, once again, I think that goes back to a coach acknowledging it, get it off their minds or whatever it is, and move forward and be competitive. And just didn't see that really out of the Falcons a ton. And I think we were talking about their possibilities, and D-ball with the Giants. Definitely somebody that isn't leading the team, because you can say, well, gee, doesn't have talent. Well, guess who else doesn't have talent? That cat up in Pittsburgh that's 20 some seasons without a losing season. How many times has he had no talent on that team? And right now he's got little talent. He's got a halfway running back. He's not even in the top 20 running backs. a decent overrated receiver that has issues. And and Russ is Russ. He's just old Russ, and unfortunately, you can't count on him like you could 10 years ago to pull you out of a game. He'll be competitive. He'll play his butt off, but I think he just also has shown over the last 4 or 5 games that he struggles. Well, doggone it, that coach is still winning games. So don't tell me you can't win with a halfway roster, because there's coaches that can do it.
Absolutely. Well, and also, like I said, Antonio Pierce from the Raiders was fired. Tom Brady is a part owner of that team. Do you think there's going to be maybe a call to Belichick? I know he's coaching college right now, but
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know what I'm not good at, Deb, is all these crazy contracts. And somebody signs for $1 bazillion and then he quits and he keeps the $1 bazillion. I don't know what the contract he has with Carolina and that program, but it'd be interesting. Tom's an interesting cat. He signs a big broadcasting contract and then he goes and buys a team where he can't broadcast anymore.
Yeah, so he keeps in the locker rooms. It's other strange.
How much of that money does he get to keep when he got himself fired? I don't know.
Yeah.
Pretty smart.
Well, here let's MVP talks are heating up in the league, obviously with playoffs. Barkley, Allen, Burrow, Jackson. Who's your pick?
Well, once again, I think I might have mentioned this, or it might have been in our pre-talk, that I don't gamble, and it's because my heart's in everything. I got the people I want to win and the people I know that are going to win. So I know who's going to win, but who I want to win is Josh Allen. I think he, finally had that season. Finally everyone was going, hey, if he could just do it without the mistakes, without the turnovers, without the, and he did. And they've had a great season. And like I said, I know who's going to win. And but I think Josh Allen would at least be my favorite.
Yeah, I think I love Josh Allen. He's had an amazing season. Every single year I pick the Bills to win the Super Bowl, and they've let me down the last 3 or 4 years. Every single year I pick them, and I'm like, can I do it again? But I do think he does have a good shot at MVP. I personally would like to see Saquon Barkley because I'm an Eagles fan. But
yeah, well, and Saquon had a fantastic season. Everyone knows that. That goes without saying. But whoever popped up in the chat there made a very valid point. When you look at the MVP, it's like without Allen, there's nothing. Without help me, quarterback, Ravens. I'm stuck.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, thank you. So without Lamar, he's got that pretty good running back. Travis Henry can carry a load. And so, when you have a 1-2 punch like that, it does free things up and create rushing lanes for the quarterback, because you got guys pursuing him. So, yeah, I think he did more with less than the other players, is why I would pick him.
All right. Sounds good. We shall soon see. The season is wrapping up.
But who are you picking, though? You told me who you wanted. Who are you picking?
I have to pick Barkley, right? I was upset that Sirianni didn't let him play last week to beat Eric Dickerson's single season rushing record. Being 101. Yeah, I get it. I get it. If he got hurt, the Eagles are screwed for the playoffs. I completely understand. But to be 101 rushing yards away from a single rushing season record of all the NFL, it breaks my heart. I thought we were all going to be surprised and he was going to play, and he didn't. But
so here's something. I looked at it, right or wrong, I don't know, but it's a thought, and it's that even if he had won, he would have won it with an asterisk, and it's do I risk, going out there to win with an asterisk, have one more game, even though, everyone looks at how many games he has, 30 less carries than Dickerson did. So, but nonetheless, they're always going to look at it. Oh, he did it in 17 games. It really, Dickerson still did better because people don't really do the research, right? So I could see why maybe he just said, gee, yeah, it'd be neat, but it's going to be diminished in people's eyes. So why even do it? I'm good. Because he's smart. He's good like that. Let the others eat, let them play, let them get their reps, because we may need them. So that was pretty good, I thought.
Yeah, no, he's such a great player, such a good guy, such a good teammate. I feel like the Eagles really have something special going on right now. So
For
hopefully
sure.
they take it all the way too. Fingers crossed. Well, let's talk about your career here. You're a former
Oh boy.
lineman for the Seahawks. Here we
Right.
go. President of the NFLPA Orange County chapter, founder of First and Goal Project. I ask this question to every single person who comes on the show. Why football?
I have no idea. I wasn't even going to play. I wasn't going to play my senior year. I
No.
made it to the final cut for Olympic development for basketball. I
Okay.
had a scholarship offer to a small Cal State LA to play basketball. I was fine with that, and I wasn't very good at football. And we had a new football coach show up. He met me in the courtyard. I remember exactly. He goes, "Hey, big guy, you gonna play football?" And I said, "Nope." he goes, "Look at you."
Wow.
He goes, "Why?" And I said, "Because I'm not very good." And so he goes, "Well," and then I told him about basketball and the scholarship. He goes,
Mhm.
"Bro," he goes, "come play football for me. I'll get you a better scholarship." I'm like, "All right, I mean, I just am not very good." After about 3 days, he pulls me aside. And he goes, "Son, you're not very good."
Oh my God, that's
Okay.
hysterical. And then you play in the NFL.
Yeah, I try to tell you. So, but he said you could be. He said, and he handed me a jump rope. Said, "Learn to jump rope. Get lighter in your feet. It'll help your footwork." And I don't want to take up too much time with the story, but that's what I did. And I went back and I showed him, skipping like a boxer, and he was impressed. And I earned a position on the team. And then I had 5 scholarship offers. Chose San Diego State, and actually I played basketball and football at San Diego State one season. So,
Okay.
it worked out. He was right. And
So
you know what? You gave a shout out to the people in LA. Uh, so bringing up my coach, I still have breakfast with him, and we just got notification he's in a coma. He choked on some food, and we're waiting for him to hopefully wake up. And as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to record a message for him. And so, Coach Chris Conlon, man, we're praying for you, and I love you.
Yes, we're absolutely praying for you, and a lot of love and light being sent right now from the Blitz as well. So you played for San Diego State, playing basketball and football. When did you realize that you could go pro?
It was probably my junior year. I finally developed. I got to be about 295 and 6'7", 295 back then in the late 80s, mid to late 80s was considered big. And even the college magazines, DeRocher's is a giant at 295 pounds, and I started getting the letters and the attention. And after my senior year, I got invited to the Hula Bowl, the collegiate all-star game, where I got to play with Thurman Thomas, Tim Brown, Ickey Woods. It was an honor to be a part of that, and then got invited to the combine. Even though I had a horrible combine, I still was looking like I was going to get an opportunity. And I got drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. Back then, I have to tell people our phones were attached to a wall, so if you weren't home, you didn't get a call, man. There was a wire. There was and
Funny.
I didn't get drafted the first day, and I got frustrated, so I went and played basketball with my brother. And get home, my folks go, "Where'd you guys go?" They go, "You got drafted by the Seahawks, and everybody was calling you." I'm like, "Oh, good enough, whatever." Yeah.
So wait, you were away and the phone rang and you weren't there to answer it. Your parents answered
the
it?
Rams were calling, Green Bay was calling, and so I guess since I didn't talk to anybody, the Seahawks just finally drafted me, and didn't look like I was gonna have a chance to make it. 12th round. Back then I'd be Mr. Irrelevant or worse, and just had a great camp, and ended up at least making it in 88, and then in 89 I was starting at left guard. They moved me to guard. Got just a quirky injury. I got a knee in my calf and it compartmentalized. What that means, it swelled up to the point where I couldn't walk because you couldn't move. They thought they were going to displace it, and it's one of those injuries that it would be an issue. So I got released. But I ended up playing 2 more years in Montreal in the World League, and then back then we just weren't making much money, and I had got a job offer. I was doing some acting, and running a club called the Roxbury in Hollywood. You might have heard of it. And I met a guy who offered me a job, and I decided, you know what, I'm good. 60,000, 70,000 a year, wasn't going to cut it. And that was the end of my career.
What was your favorite moment in your life that life has brought you that you wouldn't have had happen if you didn't play football?
Yeah, you should give me these questions before.
Sorry, hard. Or like just something like something on the
squirm. I will tell you this. Being able to have made an NFL team changed the trajectory of my life for sure. Although I wasn't one of those guys that you would know, it was something that I always put on a resume, always got me into a room, always got me an interview, and it was up for me to earn it. And and it opened doors. And today, with all of my nonprofits and work I do with veterans, and we're just now, this is brand new, Deb, we're putting 3,500 at-risk students into SoFi Stadium, and we're addressing mental health crisis of our youth with a program that teaches emotional resilience. So to be able to build a network just because of the fact that I played NFL it was a life changer. And unfortunately, what I love teaching younger guys about is to leverage it no matter how many years you played. It was an achievement, and it's something that you can leverage to do some good, whether it be in the community or in a job or whatever the case may be.
Right. And I'm sure you deal with a lot of the younger players coming up, with the NFLA PA, you know what I mean? So that's how you mentor.
Yeah. Yeah. And the First and Goal Project is a nonprofit I started to assist veterans and former players to transition, the guys that are struggling. And what everyone assumes is everyone, that people that have that kind of success have it all figured out or have all kinds of opportunities. And what I've seen, unfortunately, is guys really don't, and they don't know what they can do. And they take de facto jobs like selling insurance or financial planning, coaching. Not that those are bad jobs, but they're not doing them because that's what they want to do, or they're going to be happy doing, or they're even good at it. Is they're doing it because that's what's offered to them. And so, because they just don't take the time to figure that out. And what our program does, and actually we just signed a deal with somebody that provides, it's an extensive kind of search of yourself. What kind of job are you going to love and be good at? And then you do and upload videos of yourself of why somebody should hire you, discussing the benefits you would bring to a company or to that type of a career. And then you exist in the companies that are in our network, go out and sort you out and set up interviews. And it's just, a lot of guys just don't know where to go or how to do it. And we do it all for them for free. It's a nonprofit. And like I said, we really enjoy helping our veterans and former players.
How do you figure out where someone could be, what kind of job is suited for a certain person? Like, is there some type of test that they take, or what's the process?
So Deb, there's a lot of them. And just like anything, some are garbage and some are good. So I've taken them, and they told me I could be a food line supervisor or a janitorial supervisor. Now, I've been the CEO of a couple of companies, my own companies. I was a vice president of a bank. I was the top producing financial advisor for 3 different broker dealers over my 20-year career. I did pretty well. And if I were to have taken that to try to determine, I would have been pretty disappointed with what my options were. So you have to be, yes, there are out there, but you have to be careful which ones to use. And you have to do it more than just a personality test, because personality is what you love. So of course, every job that you see pop up, you go, oh my gosh, yeah, I love that. Well, you have to also get aptitude, and aptitude is what you're good at. And so some of those jobs you look at, you may not think, well, I'm going to enjoy doing that, but everything in your DNA is pointing towards that. You're going to be pretty good at that because of the characteristics you have within your aptitude. And then you have to just research the jobs themselves. What does it look like? Am I going to be working in a team? Am I going to be working 14 hours a day? Am I going to be by myself? Am I going to be inside, outside? Whatever those things are. And you have to envision more what you want your 30 years to look like rather than somebody else telling you. and then find those jobs that fit within those parameters, those interests and those preferences and your traits. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, and that's why a lot of people don't do it. You spend more time planning a vacation than trying to figure out what they want to do for the rest of their life.
Right. How was your transition coming from the NFL to, say the real world?
Yeah, mine was purely dumb luck. I had an agent call me and say, "Hey, Dave, you want to go judge a bikini contest because you're a former Seahawk?" And I said, "Sure." And I
That's funny.
"No, I'm not doing nothing." And they're going to pay me? Yeah, sure. So I go do that, and I meet 4 cats from a TV show called First and 10, or First and Goal. No, First and 10. Mm-hmm. And it was an HBO series with OJ and Shannon Tweed, and it was like I said, an HBO series. It was about a football team, and they go, "Hey, we need a big white guy. Are you doing anything?" I said, "I'm not doing nothing." So I went down there. They said, "You're in." And then I started doing commercials, TV shows. I was on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, did Jack in the Box commercials, and did some movies and Nike spots. And, it's just like, just kind of fell into it and had fun with it. And then it was one of those things, "Hey, you should come, be a bouncer at the Roxbury." And I'm like, "I don't want to be a bouncer. I'm not going to do that." And they said, "Well, they pay really good, and the who's who of Hollywood is there." And so it was one of those things like, "Sure, I'll go check it out." And then next thing I know, I'm the head of security for the Roxbury and hanging out with Cher and Stallone and Eddie Murphy and just kind of the who's who of Hollywood, right? And then all of a sudden job offers started coming in, and I got offered a job that I did for 20 years. So it was really dumb luck. I didn't do anything that I was telling you that I should have done, but for me, it worked out really well. I wouldn't suggest it to anybody. So. Yeah.
And what you just were the voice of Coach Hawkins in the children's book series, Junga and the Dancing Yeti?
No, it's Junga the Dancing Yeti.
The Dancing Yeti. How did you score that gig?
Well, so I was introduced to Stephen Tako, who's the author of the Junga series of books. It's about anti-bullying, is where he started. And he asked me if I'd consider reading it and endorsing it. And I'd shared with him that I was bullied when I was in junior high. When I was in 7th grade, I was bullied by the 9th graders because I was bigger than them. But when you're facing 2 or 3 at a time, there wasn't much I could do, and it made my life miserable. So I endorsed the book, just knowing that we can make a difference with that kind of a message for young people. And then he decided he wanted to do one on sportsmanship, and asked me if I'd be interested in getting involved. And I said, of course. So Coach Hoxie, of course, after the Seahawks, and asked me if I would play that role. And then I brought in 4 other former players along with us. So Marcus Ogden, Brett Fairnaz, Brian Sipe, and J.R. Tolver. So Brian Sipe was a really funny, quick story. Steven grew up in Ohio. He said, "If you could get Brian Sipe, that would be awesome." And I said, "Well, I don't know, maybe, And so I reached out to Brian. He goes, "Well, I really am not doing stuff like that anymore." And I go back to Steve. I go, "Hey, I get Anthony Munoz. I can get, some of these other great names." He goes, "Yeah, but I really want Brian Sipe." Well, one of these crazy things. Well, I'm at an Aztec golf event for the San Diego State Aztecs. Brian played for the Aztecs. And he goes, "Tell me more about that project." And I told him, he goes, "All right, I'm in." Oh my gosh, Steven was off the charts happy. And so it ended up being a thing. We've been winning awards like crazy. We won an ensemble award. I won a Best Actor award from one of the small film festivals, and we've won numerous awards for the show itself. So it's great to get that kind of positive feedback.
That's awesome. Well, and you mentioned golf as well. So for the First and Goal project, you have a golf tournament coming up too, a celebrity golf tournament, which I'm sure a lot of the people you just mentioned will be there, right? Yeah. Do you want to tell me about that?
Absolutely. And maybe we could throw the link up on your site so people could take a look at it, because we do have people flying in from all over the country. It's our 3rd annual Celebrity and Veterans Golf Invitational, a Coto de Casa. We take over both courses. And so we'll have about 200 golfers plus about 40 celebrities, and we raise money for veteran support programs. And it is, I thought it was a good tournament, but everyone thinks they do a good thing. But you know, when everyone tells you that yours is the best tournament of the year, and we're talking Southern California, so there's a lot of them, and
There's
everybody
a lot.
that
I go
the first year, pardon?
No, I said I go to a lot. That's a huge compliment.
Yeah. So, you know, we do a celebrity veteran sponsor meet and greet the night before at a speakeasy place. It's really a cool vibe. And you know, we just have quality, we have quality celebs. We have Marshall Falk, Eric Dickerson, Michael Cooper, Thurman Thomas, who I was just talking to yesterday on one of my shows. He's out doing the pork rinds thing for the Gridiron Greats. Are you familiar?
No, what is that?
Oh, so Gridiron Greats, you know, founded by Mike Ditka and some other guys. That it's a foundation to raise money for older players that need some assistance, and they came out with a pork rind thing. So last year we had Steve Largent on the show and Kellen Winslow, and then this year we had Thurman Thomas, and they have these Hall of Famers pitching pork rinds, and they take a portion of the pork rind sales and donate it to of all the foods out there. We try to get these former players to get healthy and eat healthy, and you're pitching pork rinds. You know?
Pork rinds. Well, Dave, how can our audience find out about the golf tournament? Where can they go to?
So go to www.thefirstandgoalproject.com, and when I did this, it made sense to me, but it's the number one ST and goal project. So everyone thinks it's the one stand goal, but thefirstandgoalproject.com. Yep. And the links on the website there. You can sponsor. We have people sponsoring that can't play because last year we had 40 veterans, Deb, play for free, whether they were sponsored or donated by me. And we had, you know, double amputees, triple amputees out playing on the course. We had a team from the 3-5 Dark Horse Battalion down in Pendleton, active Marines. These young kids coming up, hanging out on Coto de Casa with celebrities and playing golf. They came with their sergeant major, and it was just so fun to meet them and let them have a really good time. So it's just a great time for everyone.
It sounds like a blast. So guys, you heard it. If you go to www.thefirstandgoalproject.com to get tickets for the 3rd annual Celebrity and Veteran Golf Invitational. If you're interested in volunteering, reach out to Dave as well. You can reach out to him, and I'm sure Dave can.
Well, that's Anne-Marie's job. That's Anne-Marie's job. Yeah.
What was that?
Do it.
Yeah, I will definitely be there. All right, Dave, I'm going to jump over to Shay Holland, who has got some updates on the LA Fires, but we'll bring you back for game picks at the end of the show. Is that cool?
All right. Deal.
All right. All right, guys. Next, Shay Holland, HGTV designer to the athletes, is here to give us an update on the LA wildfires, which players, houses could be affected, and how the NFL is reacting. Shay.
Hello.
Hey, Shay. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. I've been crying off and on all day. I'm going to be honest. It's the images are unbearable. And I know that you have been out there on those front lines doing some reporting. How are you holding up, and what are you seeing out there?
You know, it's just unbelievable. I mean, the words are it's just unfathomable what has happened. And you just never think of it in a residential area that's going to happen. And so that's what we're up against. I just got back about an hour ago from the line, which is just up the road from me. I've been posting some Instagram and doing some reporting up there. And it was not getting better. As a matter of fact, as I was getting ready to head back this way to come on, you see some of the pictures there. At the Palisades fire, all of a sudden it blew up again, and I just knew it. And sure enough, right then, an authority came and said, "Hey, we're moving the evacuation line down to Montana Avenue in Santa Monica, which is almost towards the heart of Santa Monica." And so these are highly residential areas. It's just unbelievable. But 5 lives, have been lost so far, and several people injured, and it could have been much worse. But people are heeding the evacuation orders.
Well, that's great that people are, heeding the evacuation orders for sure. I've had several friends evacuate. I've had several friends that have lost their houses. So it's just everyone, please pray for LA right now. We're seeing some more footage of the damage that's down the street from all of our homes, to be honest.
Yeah. It is. It's hard to look at. As I was out there, I was talking to a man who he could not walk very well, but he just was determined to try to get somewhere close to see if anything remained of his home. And I just had to tell him, there's no chance of trying to go up there. I said, I'm not going to try to go up there for you right now, but I will try to find out. I got the name of, an address of where he's at, and I have to do a little research, see if his building is still standing. And I said, I will get back to you. And it was just story after story, literally just seeing people with just whatever they could grab. And that was all that they were able to take.
So unfortunate. What, any NFL players, have you heard any reports of any NFL players losing their homes or being evacuated?
Right now we have not heard of them directly being impacted. I'm sure there are some, given the areas that we have 3 fires burning in, and they do tend to be a little bit more affluent areas, but they're also mixed in with homes that are just, have been there for decades. In the Palisades fire, that's got, mobile home parks, senior citizen centers, the high school, Palisades High School Charter School, the football field burned down. So we are waiting still to hear. The Rams have issued just a statement, a message of support to all of those who are impacted. They are saying now that if they need to, they will move Monday's playoff game to Arizona. So they are just watching the situation closely, and they are prepared if something needs to change. Hopefully, though, the winds are starting to die down. These fires will be able to be put out before this weekend, hopefully tonight. The problem has been the wind, and they just haven't been able to get the volume of water helicopters up to fight it. Literally last night, things were just burning. There was no way to get the helicopters up there. So we have the teams that are sending out just condolences to everybody who has lost so much. I know we've had several players posting, like former player Chase Daniels has posted pictures of just what it looked like. I don't know if he was in a plane or got the footage somewhere else, but it is just impacting everybody, whether you're a player, whether you have never watched a football game in your life, if you live anywhere in this area or related. It's just been absolutely devastating. It is now the worst fire as far as homes and damaged and structures lost and people injured in the history of Los Angeles.
Yeah. All right, Shay. Well, thank you so much for, being out there, and please stay safe. I'm sure you'll be updating us on your socials. Where can people find you?
Yes, I'm at Shay Holland Official. I did post some things on Instagram today, and for me, it was just, when I opened my door, I'm looking right at the face of the fire, but we've not been told to evacuate yet. We are still a couple of miles from the edge of the line, although it's getting closer and closer here. So the suitcase is at the door, ready to go. But I can't stress enough, just everybody to listen to authorities and make sure to just follow what they say. Those embers, even when I was out there, were going several miles. All it takes is one ember to start something else. So everybody be safe out there.
Yes, be safe, Shay. We will see you soon, and please keep us updated.
Thank you, Deb.
All right, see you soon. All right, guys, let's turn this conversation to Wild Card Weekend, coming to us from the South Point Casino in Las Vegas. Betting expert Alex White is here to tell us your best bets for this weekend's games. Hi, Alex. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Gosh, segment right there is devastating. Thoughts and prayers to everybody in California, our neighbor right next door. And Shay did a great job covering it. I did not know it was the largest fire now in the LA area. So, prayers to everybody. Hope they can contain that and there is no more.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just been devastating to see all the thing, Nobu's gone and Malibu and the houses, and it's just been awful. But moving on to Wild Card Weekend, I cannot wait to hear your bets.
Can you believe we're already here? I feel like just yesterday you were in Las Vegas with us watching the Super Bowl, and I am bummed that we're not hosting again, so we won't get to see you. Are you going to be in New Orleans?
I am. Yes, I am. I will be there starting the Monday of Super Bowl. I will be at Media Row. I'll be at Media Opening Night, and all of the parties. And I'll be bringing Blonde Blitz. Will be bringing coverage from the Super Bowl all week for you guys. So I'm
Yes,
excited.
I'm looking forward to it. And we'll have to get you on with us too, so we can get coverage live from down there. Yes.
That would be awesome. Yeah, it's always, I think this will be my 5th or 6th Super Bowl. So it's always like, it's my favorite time of the year. Obviously favorite time of the season. And yeah, I love, meeting with everybody and having, it's always a blast.
And I have to say, I'm very pleased with the 7 teams from each conference. I think all of them are very well deserving. I think they're the best of the best. I think we're going to have some really good games going into this one. And with that being said, it's getting a little bit tougher to make your bets right. The lines are right there. I think they're all pretty accurate. I mean, we have some really big numbers here with the Bills and the Ravens, but I'm going to pinpoint 2 smaller favorites. I'm going to tie them together on the money line. So I'm looking at the Chargers minus 150 on the road in Houston. And I'm also looking at their Eagles minus 230. I think that's a pretty good number there against the Packers, who are pretty beat up and kind of limping their way in. Now they lose Christian Watson. And the Eagles keep impressing me. They find a way to win without Jalen Hurts the last 2 weeks. We saw Tanner McGee, we saw Pickett, but they got the weapon. Wide receiver Saquon Barkley. So I think they get this win. I'm not that confident in the number, but I'm very confident, especially, oh my gosh, 8-1 at home. They haven't lost at home since week 2 to the Falcons. And then with my first bet there in the Chargers, I mean, Jim Harbaugh, he's got the team playing with such confidence, and they've been really good on the road, 6-3 straight up on the road. So he has them well prepared. And the Houston Texans were just kind of limping in as well, right? You could see it on all of their faces when Tank Dell went down the playoffs and making a run this year. You could just see it. It was devastating. And on the flip side, the Chargers are really playing their best football right now. One of the best defenses. And we saw the Ravens hosted 2 points to safety on Christmas. And this Chargers defense is even better. Number 1 right now in points allowed. So if you tie those 2 together, we're getting a nice plus price, about plus 139. So bet 100 to win 139. So I really like that, kind of keeping it simple this week, but I like those 2 to win outright.
Awesome. I agree with you. I just do pick'ems, but I do confidence points, and I definitely am going with the Chargers as well as the Eagles. And I think that I might go to a sports book. Maybe I'll go to Atlantic City and put some money on it. Why not? It'll be my first bet.
Your record was unbelievable this year. Congratulations. I'm very excited when you sent Frank and I that screenshot. I was very impressed with that. NFL is the toughest too. I'm mostly college. I love NFL, but it's a tough sport to bet. So very good. You should be very proud of that.
Thank you. All right, Alex, we'll see you next week.
Yes, see you next week. Thank you for having me.
All right. No problem. All right, guys, it's playoff time. It's my favorite part of the season. As I said before, let's get Ben Troop, former tight end for the Titans and the Bucks. And of course, Dave is coming back too. Come on in, guys. We're going to do some game picks. Hey, Ben. Hello, Dave.
How you doing, Deb? How you doing, Dave?
Yeah, well,
Good.
Ben. Yeah, man.
Do you guys know each other?
Do not.
Do not. But I've seen Dave before though. I'm an internet stalker these days. So
I'm there. Hey, just don't look too deep.
Yes, sir.
You guys both do medias. All right, let's start off with 4:30 p.m. Saturday. We've got the number 5 Chargers versus the number 4 Houston Texans. Ben, what do you have for this one?
Listen, the Texans got home field advantage. That's about it. I think this Texans team has benefited from being a good team in a real bad division. Harbaugh hasn't gotten enough credit for what he's been since he came back to the league. Give me Justin Herbert, and them Chargers getting a big win on the road against them Texans.
All right, Dave, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I got to agree with Ben. I think the Chargers, they've been just also rans for so many years. They finally have a coach they can believe in, and I think the coach believes in them. And I think the guy mentioned it earlier, they're playing with so much confidence, which is good to see. They have a good solid core team, and they're used to playing on the road because I don't think they ever play a home game. So I don't think that's going to bother them at all. So, I live right by SoFi, and there's more away jerseys than home jerseys at any game. I think the Texans are a bit overrated.
I agree. So according to USA Today, the Chargers have a 52.8% chance to beat the Texans. You guys know CJ Stroud's one of my favorites, but I love Herbert and Harbaugh more and McConkey. So the Chargers have won 3 in a row right now. I just don't see them stopping. This Chargers defense is on fire. They had the fewest points allowed at 17.1 points per game. They only allowed 301 for the season. On the other side, the Texans scored 372 points this season and also gave up 372 points. So Chargers are favored by 3 points. I'm saying bold up, baby. So also interesting, too, I think it's an LA thing. The Chargers are starting the wild card and the Rams are ending it. So I think that's just a little different there. Let's move on to number 6 Steelers versus the number 3 Ravens, 8 p.m. Eastern. Ben, what are your thoughts?
Listen, the Steelers, obviously they gave away this NFC. There's a North division. And I think the thing about this Ravens team, that what they say, you're not a Raven until you beat the Steelers. Well, they're going to see what it's like to beat the Steelers twice. It's a lot going on with the Steelers right now. What George Pickens is going to show up. If he shows up, they're going to have a shot. But I just think this Ravens team is doing something different. It's cold. It's late in the season. Hand the ball to number 22. First name Derek, last name Henry. I know you got the MVP. I don't know if he's the front runner because people think it's going to, go to that gentleman up there, Josh Allen up there in Buffalo. But I think this Steelers team is good. I think this Ravens team is playing for something different. Give me Lamar Jackson and the Ravens to move on.
All right, Dave, what are your thoughts?
So I think I shared with you, Deb, that your listeners should not listen to my picks. I'm a horrible handicapper and a horrible gambler because I pick with my heart. I'm a Russell Wilson fan. I watched that kid scramble for 10 years for his life and do nothing but win games. And he's having to do the same thing now. Unfortunately, he's a bit old. They have a half decent running back, and as Ben mentioned, who knows what Pickens is going to show up. If the cat he shows up to play and gives Russell someone to throw to, that defense is going to show up. So, it could be pretty close. And the thing is, though, is I really like to pick a dog every once in a while, and the Steelers are my dog on this one.
Got it. Well, according to USA Today, again, the Ravens have a 72.2 chance to beat the Steelers. This is the third time these teams are meeting. The Steelers took the first win 18-16. Ravens won in week 16, 34-7. The Steelers have lost 4 in a row, Dave. I don't know.
I didn't say they are going to win. I want them to win. They're my dog.
I think I don't think they're going to win this one, unfortunately. But what do I know? The Ravens are favored by 9.5. I expect a similar blowout to Week 16, especially with Lamar Jackson in the MVP talks. So.
Yeah, they certainly hit their stride. That's for sure. Between the two of them, what do you got to do?
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the number 7 Broncos versus the number 2 Bills, 1 p.m. on Sunday. Dave, we'll go with you first on this one.
Well, I think you and I shared this. We've been wanting the Bills to win the Super Bowl for the last, 6-7 years. I just keep thinking that their year is their year. And doggone it, they keep proving me wrong. And they're coming in hot, and Josh is hot. But you know what? This little Denver team does nothing but win recently. And this one could be one of those upsets as well. I'm going to stick with it, even though I keep losing on it. But I'm going to stick with the Bills. Moving on. But man, this is a scary game. This is a scary game to pick, I'll tell you.
I agree. And Ben, you're shaking your head there. What are you thinking?
Well, I give Bo Nix a lot of credit for being able not to just play the quarterback position the way he has. Sean Payton got the longest play calls in history. I don't know why they're so long. Just call the play, let the young man go out there and get it done. But I do agree with Dave. It's going to be a better game than people give it credit for, because people talk about what Josh Allen does on offense. He makes up a lot for that Bills defense. The Bills defense is good, not what we've seen in the past. I think Denver will make a game of it, but I think Josh Allen is playing for something different. I know everybody talking about that regular season MVP. I think he's chasing that Super Bowl MVP. Can't get to the Super Bowl without this first game. So give me Buffalo. And like I said, I don't know who the best fans are in the league. I know who some of the most dedicated. Them Bills fans, they gonna come out. It's going. They like it. They're gonna like it cold, and they're their type of weather. Give me Buffalo. Give me Buffalo.
All right, and I agree with you guys. The Bills have a 68.1% chance to beat the Broncos. Super proud of Bo Nix and the Broncos this season. Didn't expect it. I don't think anyone else did either. I feel like they were the kind of a dark horse of the NFL this season. But they are going up against the Bills on the road. And as we all just said, Josh Allen is in the talks for MVP. And just a little stat, Denver is just 4-5 on the road as well. So I'm a little worried about that. Bills are favored by 8.5. I'm going Bills here.
I might take Denver in the points though. I think it's going to be a close game to Ben's point.
Okay.
I don't see it being a blowout. It might, but
I agree.
Josh Allen's the MVP because it's only Josh Allen.
That's true. That is a good point, actually. Yeah, that's true. All right, let's move on to number 7, Green Bay versus the number 2 Eagles, 4:30 p.m. on Sunday. Ben, what do you got?
Jordan Love and coming. They're gonna come to play, right? I mean, give Green Bay a lot of credit. That was the hardest division in football this year. Them and the Lions, Minnesota. Jordan Love has played much better than I thought he would, coming off the one good year last year, getting the big contract, dealing with injuries. The Eagles got Saquon Barkley. Let me tell you something. The fact that Saquon Barkley wasn't allowed to play in the last week of the season against a team that let him go, Eric Dickerson is so lucky. That record was supposed to go down. It was supposed to go down in flames. These things are so rare. But Jalen Hurts has been hurt. He's gonna play. I think this Eagle defense is really, really good. I think they're more balanced. I think, just like I said with Buffalo and Denver, Green Bay's not going to go quietly into the night. That is not going to happen. But I do got the Eagles. I do got the win in this game.
All right, Dave, what are you thinking?
It's kind of the same as the Bills. You just keep looking at the Eagles going. They should be killing people, and they're not. I think it boils down to Jalen. If he shows up, they win. If he doesn't, I like the Packers.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. The Packers aren't going to go quietly. That's for sure. According to USA Today, the Eagles have a 51.2 chance to beat the Packers. I think that's a little low, but we're still not sure if Jalen Hurts is coming back. I personally think he is. The Eagles let their emergency quarterback go this morning. So I'm assuming Hurts will play.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, that's a really good sign, right? I kind of did a little yay when I saw that. So Green Bay opened the season with a 34-29 loss to the Eagles in Brazil. And the Birds weren't quite clicking then. And now, obviously, they're playing lights out. I'm not sure. I just don't think Green Bay really has a chance, to be honest, but you never know. They are a good team. Eagles are favored by 5. I actually might be going to this game. I'm very excited to go. Let's move on to number 6, Commanders versus the number 3 Bucks, 8 p.m. on Sunday. Dave, what are you thinking for this one?
This is I think this one's going to be a shootout. The Bucks defense is horrible, and I don't think the Commanders are much better than horrible. But I'll tell you what, man, they got 2 killer quarterbacks. I think I'm echoing a bazillion people and saying Josh Daniels is a dude. He's going to be a dude for a long time. Even when he struggled initially, what I look at for a quarterback is not the statistics, but how they handle the game. And even when he struggled, he was smiling, he was learning, he was talking, he was interacting with his teammates. Unlike some of the other young guys that were just sitting and pouting and isolating. That's not a leader. Your quarterback needs to be a leader, and that young man's a leader. He's got talent, and the Commanders are coming in, going, "Holy smokes, man! We made the playoffs. Everyone wrote us off, and let's go." And but then you got this little. Actually, Baker's bigger than I thought. I don't know. Yeah. Have you met him, Ben?
I have seen Baker Mayfield in person. He's not a big guy, but he's big for a little guy. I'm gonna say
he's bigger than I thought he was gonna be.
Yeah.
So, but that being said, man, he makes stuff happen. You know, I mean, he actually could have been in that MVP vote, you know, low down, but he could have been tossed in there just with the season he's had. But I still like the Commanders.
Ben, what are you thinking?
The Commanders get to go on the road. They get to play in good weather, right? They get to go down. They get to go down to Tampa. I do agree with what this Baker Mayfield has put together a real nice season. Love what they did for Mike Evans to get him over 1,000 yards, 11 straight years. But this Daniels kid, he's different. He's been different since he left Arizona State to come to LSU to be the number 2 overall pick. The only people that's wishing they made a better decision was Chicago because they got Caleb Williams and he went number 2 to the Commanders. It's been a long time since the Commanders. The last time the Commanders had a real good quarterback, they were the Redskins. His name was RG3. He won the Offensive Rookie of the Year like Jaden Daniels is going to win. I just think that it's going to come down to Jaden Daniels with the ball in his hand, and I think him and Scary Terry going to make a play because outside of Baker Mayfield making plays with Mike Evans, they don't really scare you as a team. Vita Vea, he's going to be tired chasing Daniels all freaking game. Give me the Commanders, go down to Tampa, get a big win. And like I said, it doesn't take away from what Baker Mayfield means to the Tampa Bay Bucks on Mike Evans, but I just think this kid, Daniels, I think he's for real.
Hey, Ben, I thought you were going to say Billy Kilmer. Yeah, do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know who you're talking about. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyhow.
So again, according to USA Today, the Buccaneers have a 58.3 chance to beat the Commanders. I don't agree with this personally. The Bucs beat the Commanders in week 1, 37-20, but a lot has changed since then. Obviously, I love Jaden Daniels as well, now in the running for Rookie of the Year. I love me some Scary Terry McLaurin. They call him that nickname for a reason. I do enjoy watching the Bucs play. I do think they're good. I love Mayfield, but let's face it, they barely got the NFC South over ATL. They went 10-7 and they went 5-4 at home. The Bucs are favored by 3 points. I see the Commanders with an upset here. And I think the Commanders are going to take it. I think they're the ones who are going to move on. Let's move on to the final game. Number 5, Vikings versus the number 4, Rams, 8 p.m. on Monday. Hopefully it's SoFi, but that remains to be seen. Might be in Arizona as well. Ben, what are you thinking for this one?
Man, now, here's the thing. Sam Darnold has done, it's about as great of a job as you can do. No one saw him doing what he's doing. Obviously having Jordan Addison and, Justin Jefferson helps out. The wild card that no one ever likes to talk about who can beat you and will beat you is Matthew Stafford. He will beat you. I don't know how he continues to do it, but he continues to get it done. Him and Puka, and you're talking about Cooper Kupp, DeMarcus Robinson, Tutu Atwell. Everybody thought that this was going to be the 49ers year to run away with his division. And Seattle had a good year. And Matthew Stafford said, I'm sorry, I'm the only one with a Super Bowl ring. Last time I checked, when you talk looking at these guys, I like what Sam Darnold and everybody has done. But we talk about the upset with the Commanders. I think that I don't know who the defensive coordinator is for the Rams. If he can do his best, if he can do his best Aaron Glenn type impersonation, I think this game comes down to a shootout as well. But I'm gonna go with them Rams to get a big win against the Minnesota team. Had a great year, but I think if anybody can shut that train down, I think it's Matthew Stafford.
All right, Dave, what are your thoughts?
So, Ben, very valid point. Being a Seahawks guy, I watch the Rams twice a year with much chagrin because Stafford will shoot your eyes out. Will literally just shoot your eyes out. Here's the thing: Minnesota's got a defense though, and they'll put some pressure on them. And I think it was really good for Darnold to have that bad game last week because he was just off. Deb and I talked about it briefly. It was like he was just squeezing that ball. Everything was high. He was just puckered up. He's playing for. He had the greatest season he's probably ever had. They're playing for first place, home field advantage, and he got puckered up. So I think it's like, okay, and they got a really good coach there. And he was a quarterback at San Diego State. So, he's got that experience. You can say, all right, Sam, hey, bro, let's settle down, right? Let's do it again. But let's get back to that Sam we had all season. And if they can do that, they go in there and they win.
All right. So the Vikings have a 53.9% chance of beating the Rams. Like you just said, Dave, and we talked about it before, Sam Darnold just looked off on Sunday, was really throwing high, and his accuracy was just not on point. I do think he will get it together, though, and I think the Vikings will beat the Rams. It's not going to be easy, though. I mean, Stafford, Puka, Kupp, like they got hot at the right time. The Vikings have only lost 3 games all season, and one of those was to the Rams in week 8. I feel like this game's going to come down to who is the better defense, who can hold them. Really tight game, 1 or 2 points. I think it's going to be the thriller of the week. The Vikings are favored by 2.5. But yeah, I'm going Vikings on this one. So we'll see. And interesting enough, do you guys know that they're like possibly the Rams and Chargers, if they make it to the conference championship, they both have to play at SoFi. Like if you know what I mean? Like there's no way that
yeah, it'll be a coin toss for home field, right?
Yeah, a home or like one's gonna have to play at like the USC Stadium or the Coliseum, or one's gonna have to play in Arizona or something, because you can't have 2 games going on pretty much like at the same time. One would be like a 1 p.m. or like a 2 p.m. and a 4. I forget what the times are, but
yeah, but you can't swap the fields and all that. They do a pretty amazing job within one day, but you can't do it same day.
All right, guys, that's our game predictions for Wild Card Weekend. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ben, your show, No Weddings in the Fall, is coming up right after this. So, guys, keep on watching. Dave, thank you so much. I will see you in a few weeks at Super Bowl, correct?
See you at Super Bowl. See you on Media Row. We'll be there all week.
Yes, I cannot wait. My favorite time. All right, guys, don't forget the show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. Go to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code BLONDE, and we'll double your deposit for $100. Of course, if you like today's show, hit subscribe and follow us on socials at The Blonde Blitz. All right, guys, see you next week. Please pray for those affected by the wildfires in LA, and go Birds. Bye, guys.